Alright, here's the thing about Sean Strickland versus Jack Hermanson. If either of them wins, do either of them get the title shot next? A couple of things play into that. First of all, in 2 weeks, Izzy versus Whitaker, number 2, is going down. Should Robert Whitaker win that, I'm pretty sure we're going to see an immediate rematch, no matter what. So, we won't. This isn't a number 1 contenders fight if Robert Whitaker wins the rematch. We'll get a whole trilogy. Boom. On that same card is Jared Cannonier versus Derek Brunson. Now that's where it becomes interesting, because I feel like if shit too long. Cut. Alright, here's the interesting thing about Sean Strickland versus Jack Hermanson this Saturday. Here's the interesting thing. What? Wait a minute. Yeah. Alright, Sean Strickland versus Jack Hermanson this Saturday. Is this the number 1? No. Fuck. God damn it. Alright, Sean Strickland, Jack Hermanson. Is this a number 1 contenders fight? Maybe. Let's go through the possibilities. In next week, after this weekend, Izzy Whitaker 2 is going down. I hate how this sounds already. Jesus. What's wrong? This will be the only one. Alright, is Sean Strickland versus Jack Hermanson a number 1 contenders fight? Maybe. It all depends on what happens next weekend with Israel Adesanya and Robert Whitaker 2. Should Robert Whitaker win against Israel Adesanya, they're definitely doing a trilogy. So, it's not a number 1 contenders match if Robert Whitaker wins. On that same card is Jared Cannonier versus Derek Brunson. Now that's a very interesting fight on its own, and that's where it makes this weekend's fight and the whole number 1 contenders discussion very interesting. Because of all of Jack Hermanson, Sean Strickland, Derek Brunson, and Jared Cannonier, Derek Brunson probably deserves it the most, if we're being honest, from my opinion. But he's also either the least likely to get it or the second least, but probably the second least likely to get it. If Jared Cannonier wins, he offers a fresh parity. He will be he'll be on a 2-fight win streak should he beat Derek Brunson, and there's levels to win streaks here. I know everybody likes to throw that out. Leon's on a 9-fight win streak or whatever. Like, there's levels to 2-fight win streaks. Like, Jared Cannonier beat Kelvin Gastelum, and he would be under the assumption to beat Derek Brunson. That's a pretty huge and impactful 2-fight win streak. It's not just 2 unranked guys when he was also unranked, part of the win streak. It's 2 of the upper echelon of the division, making Jared Cannonier the most likely number 1 contender of the 4, assuming that Robert Whitaker doesn't win. With that being said, Derek Brunson is probably the most deserving because he's on quite the win streak himself against maybe not upper echelon talent of the division, but it is against fighters who the promotion has tried to push into the upper echelon using Derek Brunson as a gatekeeper, and it has backfired in that perspective tremendously. Derek Brunson has stomped everybody back down. Edmund Shabazian, Darren Till. I mean, as far as Derek Brunson's wins versus Jared Cannonier's wins. Sure, Jared Cannonier's wins mean more in theory, but Derek Brunson has a longer win streak. He's resurgent, and he offers a different possible avenue from the first fight with Adesanya, which takes away part of the repetitiveness of it. Like, oh, we'll be doing another rematch. That's why I think he won't get it though, even if he does win, or it'll take some convincing. Like, it depends on if Jared Cannonier and Derek Brunson put on a good show. If either Jared or Derek put on a great performance, either one of them could be number one contender. If they put on a dud, and Sean Strickland or Jack Hermanson this weekend absolutely puts on a firefight, I think either Jack or Sean's get. But let's move to this weekend's main event. Sean Strickland is more likely than Jack Hermanson to get the number one contendership should he win. He's talked more, he has more of a personality. I love Jack Hermanson, but it's true. Sean Strickland, more people in the MMA, in and out of the MMA community know who Sean Strickland is than they know who Jack Hermanson is. And that wasn't true a year ago. Maybe even less. Like, Sean Strickland sort of flew under the radar for me for a while, but I took notice of him with the Uriah Hall fight. And that's when he also started speaking more and being more outlandish, and I love it. I love the whole crazy thing. I enjoy the gimmick or whatever. It's fun and funny for me. And it's something different and unique. It's not just the Conor McGregor spiel, but repackaged. Like, it's something special, something unique. And I like things like that. But should Sean Strickland win this weekend, it will probably be via hands, via fisticuffs, via standing and banging. Even if there is attempted level changes by Jack Hermanson, Sean Strickland's not likely to go for a takedown. He's likely to stand and basically box with you, which is very friendly. Even if it doesn't mean he gets the knockout or if he's got the most well-rounded game, it's very interesting to watch him fight because it's very compelling, because he puts himself in danger a lot and he puts his opponents in even more danger by just constant pressure and great strikes. I mean, it's everything we love in a fighter with Sean Strickland. But Jack Hermanson is the same part of that coin. While they're sort of billing this as a striker versus grappler, Jack Hermanson is not afraid to throw hands. You guys saw the Martin Vettori fight. That was a very, very underrated fight. That fight was awesome. Like, that was a phenomenal fight. And even if Jack didn't get the better of it, I mean, he stuck in there. Sure, he took some shots, but he took them and ate them and got back up and started swinging and banging back. It was great. So I feel like we're going to get more of a fisticuffs showdown this weekend than we're expecting. I wouldn't put it past Jack Hermanson to go for a submission or a level change or any sort of grappling, because, I mean, that's probably the smart thing to do. But whatever. Regardless, should Jack Hermanson win, even by like say it's the Kelvin Gastelum win. I was so shocked when that Kelvin Gastelum Jack Hermanson fight happened. Just 40 seconds in, it's over. Heel hook. I was like, whoa! I wasn't even prepared for it. Like, I didn't even get the full emotions out of it. Like, I was still pumped and ready for it to happen. And the next thing I know, it's over. Under the assumption, or going with it, that he got a similar performance to that, I still don't think he's a number one contender. It's not that he's everybody's saying he's in a bit of a rough patch now. Kind of. I mean, I wouldn't be too upset with myself if I was him, if I was in his position. But, I mean, he does need to start to rack up a couple wins. And as much as we love Sean Strickland and as much as we know Sean Strickland's the one coming up. Jack's the one trying to batter him back down. So, beating somebody on the come-up doesn't necessarily get you a title shot. It's breaking into the top 5 and doing that. With that being said, the middleweight's in a weird spot right now, but I believe pretty comfortably that Jack Hermanson is the least likely of the 4 to get the title shot next, even with a phenomenal performance. Now, if Sean Strickland comes out there and puts on a clinic, it doesn't have to be a 30-second knockout, it doesn't have to be a 3rd-round TKO, even if it's a decision. If it is exciting, compelling, and interesting, and very hands-friendly, very just bleed friendly, there's a solid chance he could get the title shot. I'm not saying it's confident. I'm confident in it. I'm not saying it's happening for sure. I'm not saying that even if he does do that, he will automatically get the title shot, or that he's even likely to. But there's a possibility, because that puts one piece of the puzzle into motion, so to speak. If Sean Strickland does great and is very fan friendly, and then next weekend, what in the hell? If Sean Strickland does a great performance and it's fan friendly, stand and bang worthy, or at least just entertaining, compelling to watch, something that makes you root for the guy. And if next weekend Izzy fights and beats Robert Whittaker, and if Derek Brunson and Jared Cannonier lay an egg, even if Derek Brunson wins, but he wins by sort of just wrestle fucking, like not even like the entertaining wrestle fucking with elbows and ground and pound, the good wrestling, the wrestling I like, but just the sort of like lay and pray. I don't think they'd give Derek Brunson a title shot off of just 5 rounds, or it's not even a main event, it's 3 rounds of lay and pray. That's another thing we have to factor into too. Derek Brunson and Jared Cannonier have 3 rounds to work with. Sean Strickland and Jack Hermanson have 5. So there's more opportunity for Sean Strickland and Jack Hermanson to do something spectacular in the cage to captivate the audience's imagination. With that being said, Derek Brunson, Jared Cannonier, they're pretty high up on the bill of Adesanya Whittaker too. So their names will be in there a lot. But that's why I think if Sean Strickland wins and he keeps yapping his jaw, which is what I like, and if the Derek Brunson Jared Cannonier fight is not a barn burner, there's a very good chance that Sean Strickland could in fact be next for the title.